to the program, Chad Prather Show, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then some mini episodes in between. So those of you who are wondering if we're still Monday through Thursday, actually, we're putting stuff out there Monday through Friday, sometimes even on the weekend. So pay attention. That's the beauty of subscribing to YouTube or Rumble. You get a notification. If you hit that ring my bell, notification bell, you'll be able to see when we post content up there. And we've been putting some stuff up there, man. Some of those little 10-minute, 15-minute episodes are pretty powerful. I enjoy doing them, and so I want you to go and check them out, all right? You just got to scroll the page. I mean, if you can search through Netflix and everything else to find the content you want, maybe you can come over there and listen to my goofy butt talking about some stuff as well. Got a lot to get into today. Sure, let's see. Donald Trump, he gave a speech last night, right? Everybody was all excited about that. I guess I don't know what everybody was expecting. I'll give you a summary of it here in just a minute. Yeah, it was Trump touting Trump is what it was, and I'll give you a little bit of that here in a few moments. But I hope you guys are doing well. You see there in the chat, let me give you some shiny Chads right there. Give you a couple of those. Linda's doing it. Everybody can do it. A little Party Foul Steve. I'll do it in the Rumble chat. If you're joining us by way of YouTube, welcome. Glad you're here. If you're on Facebook or X, we're glad you're here as well. Man, the trolls are alive and well. They are out there just barking at the noise, trying to punch through the smoke, and that's okay because I find it very entertaining how they, these people are just angry at the world, man. You know, so Trump gets on the deal last night. Of course, he was going to blame everything wrong with the country, whether it's inflation or high prices or crime or border chaos and economic anxiety. He put it all on Biden's administration, and I think a lot of that blame is due there. It's not new rhetoric, but it is consistent with a conservative argument that many Americans already kind of know to be true, right? I mean, what are we going to do with this country when we keep flopping back and forth between the craziness of, let's see how far right we can go or how progressive left we can go, and nobody's willing to actually tell the truth and say, let's find a little balance in this. And I was saying yesterday, I think that you can, in one of my videos, I don't remember which one it was, but I was talking about how we really do need to find some balance. And being able to talk about the nuances of that doesn't mean that you're less conservative or you're not a Trump supporter or you're not MAGA or what label you want to wear. I'm really kind of sick of the labels. If you're with me on that, just a little dancing banana there in the Rumble chat. Blow that thing up. Show me some American flags if you're just sick of it. And again, are we ever going to come back together? Doubtful. Not sure that we will. Life under the last administration, we have to admit, it got more expensive. It amazes me the people out there who want to deny that. Life under the last administration, it got a little more unstable. And it got a lot more uncertain with a lot of the rhetoric that was out there over the last few years. It's been bad. And, Trump didn't apologize for what he's doing. And I appreciate that about Trump, right? He didn't apologize for the tariffs. In fact, he doubled down on them last night. From his perspective, the tariffs are not punishment. They're leverage, and I think they're working. I said at the beginning of the year, give this man 6 months to cook. And we did, and we saw that the tariffs seemed to be working. And he framed all of that as a tool to protect American workers and bring back manufacturing to the U.S. and force fairer trade instead of these endless concessions that we keep doing. I mean, this bowing to these other countries. And I hope that we can acknowledge that tariffs, they're not painless. They never have been. But I think the end result is going to be good if we hold the line. Now, I think the cool thing that he did last night was that, what do they call it, the warrior dividend, where they're proposing $1,776 paid out to about 1.5 million service members. So obviously we're heading into the 250th birthday of the nation. And so in a very symbolic gesture, $1,776. That's a pretty populist move, really, to say thank you to our American military. But again, you're going to have people who are going to raise questions about funding. How dare he do this without congressional approval? All right, well, I bet we can get it. So, I think that honoring our service members is good, but we keep promising everything from bank accounts for children to, dividends for service members and all that. But again, you still, it's easy to say all that stuff in a speech, but the promises still have to survive the math and the whole process, right? So again, balance, folks, balance. And of course, he was teasing some future moves with the new Federal Reserve chair that's coming and housing reform that's coming and economic growth that's coming. He says we're on the verge of a boom. And so I think he was, like in typical Trump fashion, he was heavier on the direction and pointing the vision than he was on the detail. and a little more of the tone setting than the policy, stuff that we're looking for. And again, I still have a lot of questions about this administration. Actually, it kind of became a headache after a while trying to figure all of it out. Have we pushed through a lot of those executive orders from the beginning of the term that they've been put into Congress? Have we pushed those through? And people tend to sweep that kind of stuff under the rug. We got to get policy dense, folks. So throughout the whole address, Trump kept going back to, border security, which is good, and reduction of crime, and the cultural issues that are out there, and what he sees as the erosion of common sense in American life. And I think we can all relate to that. They resonate with his base because they're reflecting our daily frustrations, and not think tank abstractions or the media spin. So now you got the critics out there that are saying, well, let me tell you what he didn't dwell on, like personal empathy for the families that are still struggling under these high prices, or, I get it. At what point in time do we take this policy and make it real for the people who are, got shoe leather in the streets? I don't know how. I would love to hear from you guys. How's your home been affected by the Trump administration? I think overall it's good. But I would like to know if you felt some relief on those things. And again, let's get past the fact that Trump gives speeches that are unmistakably Trumpian. He likes to talk fast and defiant and confident and unapologetic, and I get that. But again, I wish that we could get to a little more of a unifying message rather than just a rallying speech, because I don't know that Trump knows how to speak to people unless he's holding a rally. Do you understand what I'm saying by that? Let's soothe some tensions that are out there instead of just pointing to the strength and resolve and contrast of this administration versus the last. So I think for conservatives, my interpretation is the takeaway is just that everything is it's not that everything is fixed, but there is an argument for all of it with some strong borders. And, I'd rather have that than the chaos that we had under the Biden administration and the economic nationalism that Trump is pushing versus global dependency. So we still have to see how these tariffs are going to continue to play out. And law and order versus managed decline. People are up in arms over that. And you might agree with every word that he said, or you might wrestle with some of the way he delivered it last night, but the direction's unmistakable, okay? And I'm still very optimistic about all of it. And I think we've got some numbers to prove it, and I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. But last night wasn't just, it wasn't just about, hey, look, we're patting ourselves on the back and everything is okay and swell. I think anybody with critical thinking skills and common sense can see through that. This is Trump posturing a little bit to push the administration forward into the future. And we do have some midterms coming that a lot of that is at stake. And to the degree that rhetoric is handled and pushed out there, and how people absorb it is going to determine a lot of that. Because I think, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, when it comes to looking forward towards the midterm, my forecast, while prayerful, is a little bit dismal. I don't think we're ready for that pendulum swing that I think is potentially about to happen here. Okay? And obviously Trump has stated where he stands on all of that, and we'll and I see you there in the chat. Some of you say grocery prices are killing you. And you got different issues that are going on in your own personal life. It's one thing to give a speech. It's another thing where the shoe leather hits the road. So there's a lot of things that we could talk about. All right. Before we go any further, let me tell you about my friends over at Birch Gold. Make sure that you text Chad to 989898. And we will maybe Philip is going to join us from Birch Gold. I was looking over here in the screen. I don't think, David, that he has joined us yet. So if he pops in, we'll come. Yeah, it's all good. We'll pop back into that a little bit. Let me get over here to the show notes. But text Chad to 989898. We're partnering up with those guys, hopefully for another year, man. Birch Gold, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They want to send you that free no obligation information kit. Text Chad to 989898. If you got some money laying around and it's not doing anything, let Birch Gold help you out on that, whether it's savings or 401k or whatever it may be. All right, let's bring this dude on. I love him. He looks like Joe Pesci and With Honors. Look at him, boy. He looks like he's fixing to plant a device or something. Party Pal Steve, everybody. Party Pal.
I was going to say, I'm not even up there yet. How do you know? But you look at the little picture of the pre-stage.
I see the little picture of you. Look
Yeah.
at that nutcracker back there, man.
Oh, that's my Marine Corps nutcracker. I had to
What's
ditch
that next to your nutcracker?
wait.
Other shoulder.
Oh, the little gnomes? Little
Yeah.
Christmas gnomes. I'm in the Christmas spirit. I put some gnomes up there.
You got little demons back there, dude.
Are they demons? I don't
Probably.
know.
I don't
They
know.
were in a box. You know, I don't.
You got
I
your
don't
little
know.
marine saber back there.
Hey, that's a demon. That's a devil dog right there. Arr.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Let's Party Foul Steve.
yeah,
I bring you on here, but I got to kick you right back off.
Yeah, do that because I want to hear some more. Have you gold prices, silver prices, or just
You were telling me
boom.
what's the silver spot price right now? What did you look at it this morning?
Right at $60, 59,
60 bucks.
65, $60. I'm talking. This is when it has doubled in the last year. Remember the last 5 years when I've been talking? Everybody buy silver, buy gold. It just keeps going up.
It keeps on going up, dude, and I love it. I got a sack full of silver I need to go cash in. Maybe I don't know. I wonder how high it can go. Give me the screen real quick, David. Maybe our guest that's coming on can help me with some of these questions and answers here because I do have some questions. Headlines right now. I talked about Trump's speech last night. Headlines are really confusing right now. And I think they're confusing on purpose because you got one job report that says jobs are disappearing and you got another that says the jobless claims are at a 3-year low. And the media can't decide if the economy's strong or weak, which I think has caused some confusion last night, even in Trump's speech, talking about we're on the verge of a boom. And so you got artificial intelligence out there that's advancing in such a way faster than most people can even comprehend. Even the pioneers who helped build AI are now warning about mass displacement, which is going to mean permanent job loss. So we're getting replaced, folks. The Terminators are coming. I don't know how to describe it any better than that. So let's talk about what's actually happening beneath the surface, and more importantly, who is winning, who's getting crushed, and what should everyday Americans like you be doing right now to protect their future. So join me in welcoming the guy that's going to cut through the noise and help us out, our good friend Philip from over at Birch Gold. Welcome, Philip. Good to see you, brother. How's everything going, man? We tried to connect with you on Tuesday, but we didn't get there, but I'm glad you're here today.
Everything's going well. I was sitting backstage. By the way, I thought your monologue, because I was listening, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think two things can be true at once. I think people need to come together. People are sitting on opposite sides of the spectrum. And I think there's some reality meets in the middle. But I think two things are true at once, right? We're struggling. Trump's doing a good job, but he certainly inherited big problems from the Biden administration. I think he could be doing a few things a little bit better as well. So I think both things are true at the same time.
So so let me go ahead what Party Foul Steve was saying, talking about silver being at $60 a spot. Can that go any higher? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I think so. I was going to say it's a little over $65 today. It's up almost 100% for the year, almost. So it's absolutely shooting up. Gold's up over 60. The answer is yeah. I think these things have been massively undervalued for a long time. And I think what we're seeing now is a repricing to reality. So I think we've got a ton of legs for both, actually.
I want to be like Silas Marner and go dig up the mason jars in my backyard and run my fingers through all the gold, just see what I got, just every night under a lantern, just go dig it all up. We got to go count our ducats, right? But I mean, gold at 430. Somebody in the chat said 4,370. That's solid. I mean, it just went up higher by another $6 just now in the few seconds we were talking. Listen, the headlines are all over the place, Philip. And ADP says we lost jobs in November, but jobless claims just hit a 3-year low. So what are we looking at? Is it a strong jobs market or is it a weak one? What are we looking at?
Look, I mean, the answer is somewhere in the middle, right? Unemployment is historically low. We're at 4.4%. We've averaged 5.5 since 1913. So in the context of history, we're doing really well. The flip side is unemployment is shooting up. So the trajectory is getting worse. ADP numbers show more problems on the horizon. So in the context of history, we're doing okay, but the trajectory is not good. And numbers coming out of ADP, obviously with the government shutdown, we had that blackout. Numbers now starting to look bad. So we think it could get worse. Inflation, though, surprisingly came down a little bit, much to people's surprise. We weren't expecting that, now at 2.7%. So it is confusing because, as people are saying in the chat, our reality doesn't quite meet that, right? We go to the grocery store and we're still feeling the pinch. People have to remember, though, inflation slowing is just the pace of price increases slowing. All the inflation we've had under the Biden years, that's stuck and it's not going anywhere. Slowing inflation doesn't make that disappear, only deflation does. And we don't see those periods very often at all.
Yeah, and that's not sitting there on the cusp of what everybody's expecting right now. And I brought up AI. You know, AI is kind of fascinating. I saw where our friend Glenn Beck, he's got a whole new networking program coming out. One of his deals is George AI, where he just sits there in his podcast studio and interviews an AI version of George Washington, which I thought was weird. I'm like, Glenn doesn't even need podcast guests anymore. You can just get AI guests to talk back to you. But when you talk about AI, even the godfather of AI is warning about this mass unemployment. That's scary. I mean, how does that tie into these job numbers? I mean, is Skynet about to become self-aware and just eliminate the need for human workers? What's going to happen?
Listen, it's really frightening. As you point out, the sort of main architect of AI says we've got problems on the horizons, potentially hundreds of millions of jobs at risk. I don't think it happens overnight. There's going to be a transition phase. Long term, though, it's obviously very, very concerning. You talk about AI guests. I'm getting replaced pretty soon at this pace, so we'll have to wait and see.
You are the face. You are the media face, Philip, of Birch Gold, and then we'll just get a version of you. We'll get.
You could do much better than this face with AI. There's no question about it.
We'll get you in every language. We could, it'd be crazy. But it's a scary world we're living in. Who's getting hurt in this job market? But more importantly, is there anybody out there that's doing just fine in this market? Yeah. Anybody doing good in this?
Unfortunately, yeah. What they're talking about is a sort of K-shaped recovery. So the C-suite jobs, CEOs, top level positions, those guys are thriving in this market, and it's sort of working class, middle class families are the ones that are really suffering. That's why they're talking about this sort of K-shaped recovery. The problem is, for the last 15 years, we've been pumping massive amounts of money through markets. And what that has the effect to do is inflate asset prices. We got to remember 90% of assets in the United States are owned by the top 10% of the population. Wow. So what happened is they got much richer. As that money bled through into the broader economy, things started to get more expensive. But the big issue was for the bottom 90%, bottom 50% who didn't really get that benefit of asset inflation. Now we're just bearing the cost of higher prices. So it's sort of this K-shaped recovery. Some people thriving, most people not, unfortunately.
Yeah, most people aren't. And I read an article the other day that talked about the phrase was it's plaguing Trump's second term. What's the response to that? I mean, are we optimistic, pessimistic, or are we just like, we're just going to coast through this until the next go round?
It kind of ties into what you said at the beginning. I think a lot of this is unfair characterizations. Trump inherited an absolute dumpster fire of an economy. And things were getting propped up. They were pumping money through. So the numbers looked good, but the underlying sort of fundamentals were an absolute disaster, and Trump stepped into that. He's done a good job. Are there things he could have done better? Absolutely. I think tariffs long-term will work. They're generating revenue, but we're just starting to see the effect of that. So he's getting hammered by the media. Obviously, people are feeling the pinch in the grocery stores. I think that's going to be the biggest issue for the midterms is inflation. They need to address that. But like I said, putting it all on Trump's shoulders is an absolute nonsense, and it's ignoring reality.
And I think when it comes to looking at towards the midterms, like the prognostication, a lot of people are going to feel it where it hits their pocketbook immediately day to day, and they're going to say, well, Trump's not doing a good job, rather than looking forward at, like, I mean, a year ago, we wouldn't have seen silver being at $65 a spot. Like, we wouldn't have seen that unless you really have eyes to see. Somebody like you who keeps their finger on the pulse of that. So in terms of our audience, the people who are listening to this, what's the smart move? I mean, you got AI looming, you got uncertainty everywhere. What do we do? Do we put it in mason jars and bury it out back? Do we go out and sell it right now and just put cash under a mattress? What do we do?
Look, I think that first of all, you don't panic, right? The problems are here. Where people who are watching shows like yours, they're getting informed, they know where they are. So it's just a case of preparing. Precious metals in this climate function as a very good hedge, right? And the idea is not to take every penny we have for our retirement and put it into gold and silver because we're making one bet in one direction. I hope President Trump can pull this off. And for that reason, I maintain assets that will reflect that. But people have to understand this is a very tough job. We've got a world running away from the US dollar. We've got problems domestically. There's problems globally. These problems tend to suit safe haven assets like gold and silver. It's exactly why gold's up over 60%. Silver's up close to 100% this year. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, has come out and said gold can easily hit $10,000 an ounce in climates like this. So I think it's just a case of making sure you have some exposure to a safe haven contrarian asset. So if things do get rough, that portion grows and at least protects the retirement. It's that simple.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people who are worried about it right now. But I tell you, can you imagine if people would have listened to what I said a year ago when I said text Chad to 989898, let Birch Gold help you guys? Where their investments would be right now, as high as it's gotten. I mean, it's almost like we're telling them what to do, Philip.
they will listen, and I'm telling you, they're going to have the same opportunity 12 months from now. I truly believe it. I really do.
Yeah, it's optimistic. I do believe that as well. So, hey, Philip, thank you for your time, man, and safe travels in all you're doing, and thanks for all that you're doing. And we appreciate your input, brother.
Thank you for having me, as always. Thanks, Chad.
Right, take care, brother. All right, guys, I'm telling you, get over there. Text Chad to 989898. I mean, you can't argue with the numbers. Gold and silver's up. I mean, it is up. And you heard me, $10,000 a spot price party foul. Steve.
Look right there. You see that?
What you got? Is that silver or gold? I can't see it in the room.
That's silver. That's my favorite piece of silver.
What
That's
is
the
it?
Chad Prather silver right there, 1 ounce.
Look at that thing. That's got my face on it.
Cowboy hat.
It
I
does
got it
my
in
little...
a case, protective case.
It's okay. I like it. I wish I had some of those. I gave them all away.
Oh,
dang it.
Yeah, I think you gave that one to me. That's like you gave me $65. That's nice.
I know. Well, you're welcome. All those people. And what's funny is I've told you about, I'll tip with those spot rounds and stuff like that. And I love to use it as a teaching lesson for stuff. So anyway.
You
All right,
think about the people
Go
you
ahead.
tipped last year, if they still have it, they've doubled their money on that tip.
I mean, I got those little pieces of gold, right? And I've used those little pieces of gold. They're worth like 400, 500. They're more than that now. And I've had people who've looked at
This is a
those
gram
little
right
pieces
here.
right there.
That's the gram's like 100 and I think 130, close to $130 just for a little gram. 1 gram. It's little bitty. It's tiny and thin, but
yeah. So, all right, let's jump into the top stories here. I'm glad you guys are there. Blow up the chat. Let me see those American flags. American flags. We'll do some more of this right here. All right, so some of the breaking stories. The U.S. House just passed legislation to criminalize all trans procedures for children. It's people under 18, okay? Mutilating surgeries, hormones, treatments, 216 to 211. Now, can you tell me who that 211 was? Oh, well... there was 4 Republicans who voted nay on that. Would love to know who those 4 Republicans are. I don't know yet.
yeah. How does this affect infants that are born with both genitalia? And that's
Google
what
it, Steve.
It happens. It's a small percentage.
It's not what we're talking about. Again,
Okay,
that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about elective surgeries.
Okay. That's elective
so-
surgery that parents have
No,
to make.
but we're talking about elective surgeries. We're not talking about somebody born hermaphroditic or that kind of deal. I mean, that is such a small percentage. We're talking about people who, whether parents have influenced a child to go a certain way and starts wanting to put them on a hormone blocker of some kind, or these 15, 16-year-olds who are going through a phase in life and they start cutting, having double mastectomies. So, all right, so let's see what we got. We got Michael Lawler, New York. We got Mike Kennedy, Utah. We got Gabe Evans, Colorado. We got Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. They were the ones who voted against this, and it just absolutely is insane.
Yeah,
but they voted against that.
You should not cut your junk off before the age of 18.
Yeah.
It's just like,
But I mean, it doesn't surprise you that it's coming from Colorado. It doesn't surprise you that it's coming from New York. And so here you got this Oregon Democrat who's arguing for trans surgeries for minors. Again, the trans issue is not a biological issue in terms of what I'm saying, what you were asking about the hermaphroditic or whatever that kind of deal. We're talking about these people who have talked forever about gender being a social construct. And so now you're going to try to make the biology match the social construct or the mental thing that's going on. So here we go. Suzanne Bonamici, play the clip. Bonamici, Oregon, of course it is.
Every parent wants what's best for their children. And as a parent, I cannot imagine how I would feel if a doctor told me that Republicans in Congress banned life-saving evidence-based care that would help my child. Medical care for transgender youth is safe and effective and supported by major medical associations. Access to transgender-related health care is critical, medically necessary, and often life-saving. Every parent wants what's best for their children.
That is a headache voice right there.
Changing all their anatomy does not fix the brain.
So let me tell you, and I see those of you in the chat who are asking about life-saving. Let me tell you what they're referring to. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but what they're saying is because if somebody's living in the wrong body for what their brain is telling them that their gender is different from what their biology is showing, so in other words, if their gender and their sex don't match up, then it's increasing their potential for suicide. And so therefore, self-harm is what they're talking about when they're referring to protecting their health. That's what they mean when they say life-saving.
Since we've been doing transgender surgeries, does that mean that people have not killed themselves?
No, the
slow them down?
The deal is still the same. So that's the problem that we have here. And again, you can't do something physical to your body to help a mental illness. And again, they made them change all the rhetoric, like Johns Hopkins University called gender dysphoria a mental illness a long time ago, and they made them change all that verbiage. And it's still a mental illness. Steve, if you thought you were a unicorn and like we're trying to get a horn
I got one.
surgically applied to your forehead, that would be, we'd think, man, Steve's kind of flipped script here. Like he's lost, the cheese is slid off the cracker.
I just want to know what the cause of the uptick in trans is. What's the cause?
Well, I could tell you, but again, we'd get docked on YouTube.
Okay.
You keep pumping people full of these chemicals and pumping people full of these things that are supposedly life-saving. That's the key phrase, life-saving. Like back during COVID, y'all don't care about grandma. Well, screw grandpa. It was all about saving grandma. I don't know what that deal was about. But like you look at this, and you can't keep pumping kids with these schedules of inoculations and load them up with that kind of stuff. The crap that's in our food.
I was going to say baby formula.
I mean, all the crap.
Is there something in that? I mean, hormones and all that kind of stuff.
And then you get to the influence of culture. I mean, we've always had goth and punk and emo and all these different phases that kids go through.
Those seem really mild.
They really do.
That's like, oh, you want to be goth? Okay, as long as you're a goth girl.
All people deal with identity issues. Kids especially deal with identity issues. And now you got parents and teachers and the cartoons that they're watching that are encouraging them that, well, if you don't feel comfortable with your identity, maybe you're something completely different. So, and then you mix that with all the crap we're pumping in ourselves. Anyway, all right, hang on. Let me take a break right quick. I want to talk to you about Patriot Protect, our friends over there. Man, I use Patriot Protect. They're fantastic. If you have used Gmail or ChatGPT, AT&T, DoorDash, or Comcast, you're at a critically elevated risk level to get seriously scammed, because they had major security breaches at all of those companies. It exposed names, emails, addresses, phone numbers, behavior patterns. And guess what? Those scammers are using all of that stuff to target you. And so those data brokers are publishing detailed profiles on every single American adult. Your home, your family, your habits, your age, your income, your online footprint, everything scammers need to calculate whether you're a profitable target or not. And you are. Google your name and address. You're going to see hundreds of websites publishing the intimate details of your life. Do it. Scary. But that is unless you use Patriot Protect. Patriot Protect's going to remove all of that personal data from the internet. It's going to scrub it. And the places where the cyber criminals are lurking out there. Here's what you got to do. You got to go over to patriot-protect.com/Chad and sign up. Use their promo code CM50. That's Charlie Mike 50. Patriot-protect.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad, and you might get a 15% off yearly on top of all that. But right now, they got a great deal going. I want to say it's like a 40% off deal. Don't quote me on that. Go check it out yourself. Huge deal. Patriot-protect.com/Chad. And I'm a customer. I literally pay for it. I subscribe to it. That's one thing about my sponsors. They don't give me anything. I use it. I invest in it myself. And if I didn't, I wouldn't promote it to you. So that's what we do. Yeah, CM50 will work on that. And so go ahead and use it. But, I mean, if you missed that promo code, use CHAD. That's always good. Always good. So we're good. All right, let's see here. I was reading something. I was reading something yesterday that was crazy, and I was like, you know what? I missed the time for Trump's speech. I had to go back and watch it. You know why? Because my watch stopped. I wasn't wearing my Original Grain. Check these things out. Original Grain is a cool company, man. Go to originalgrain.com. They take like whiskey barrels and Taylor guitars and all this old wood, and they make the watch bands. Can you see that? The accent in the middle of the watch band. Booyah, made out of that wood grain. Really cool. And I'm a watch guy. You know what they call people? You know what they call people who are watch people? They call them horophiles. Sounds weird, but I'm a horophile. I love watches, and these have a good weight to them. And I don't know, it's probably about a 45 centimeter. It's a good size watch for a man. So if you're looking for that last minute Christmas gift, boop, 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 there's where you're going to save that 40% right now at originalgrain.com. They got that holiday sale going on. So go over there and check them out. And it comes in a cool little box. You know, you get a little storage box. Bam. It comes in a little wood box. Everybody needs one of those. But go over there and get it.
Wood.
Original Grain. Party Foul Steve needs some of this. Could be the only wood in his life these days.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I was wondering if I could send my own piece of wood to them and have them make me one.
You never know.
Yeah.
They're good dudes, man. I got to know them, and I got to talking to them, and they were like, "Hey, man, we got these watches," and I said, "Send me the watch. Send me a couple of watches, and I'm probably going to use these in the days ahead for a giveaway. So these watches that I'm holding right here, at some point, I'll figure out a way to do a giveaway, and I'll send them over to you guys. And I hate to part with them too, because these are nice watches." And even comes with a couple of extra links that you can throw in there if you big-wristed folks. All right, I was expecting this declaration of war last night in the speech. I didn't know what was going to happen. Tucker Carlson said it. How many of you trust these guys anymore? I mean, can we all put it to rest now that, like the Candace thing, like I was right on all that deal? Like they were just pumping you full of all of the gas?
Yeah.
We'll see if Candace shows up at TPUSA at M-Fest this week. Let's see what happens.
On stage.
Yeah, on stage.
Yeah.
Like comes out and everybody cheers and claps, and it'll be one big woohoo, the wrestling match is over.
She asked all the questions.
Yeah.
You were asking them to the thin air.
I mean, so, everybody came at me over just saying it, but I was saying, well, it is what it is. Tucker, do you guys believe any of these guys anymore? Like they just talk. They talk. I was talking about Philip a little while ago. Glenn Beck's got his thing coming out now where he's interviewing an AI George Washington. I don't know how I feel about that.
It was actually kind of cool. I watched it.
Okay, but it's kind of cool, but it's kind of crap too, because it's not real George Washington.
No, it's not.
And it's not a thought-provoking thought leader of our current day and age. You're talking to an AI that was basically created by Glenn Beck's voice of what he thinks and interprets George Washington might say.
I thought it was pulling from all the history that we have on George Washington.
Well, I'm sure it does do
all
that.
His writings and stuff like that, and kind of how he would think about it.
But again, you're still, all of that is shaped by the voice of the person who's putting that in there, right? So again,
he was probably just a guy trying to stay alive. It's like, I was just trying to stay alive.
He got like Forrest Gump, man. He just got lucky. That was $1 million wound. I didn't see a dime.
I was president because I was the only one standing there that day.
I was the only one still kicking.
I raised my hand. I didn't even know what it was for.
let's go back to, well, I mean, there's a reason why when George Washington retired from the presidency and quit that, he went back to Mount Vernon and started making whiskey as a retirement job. So that's what it was all back to. It went right on back with making the booze. All right, let's get back to Tucker Carlson. And by and large, I like Tucker. I think he's a guy that asks some real questions, a good interviewer. But he says they were going to declare war last night. Play the clip.
And so here's what I know so far, which is that members of Congress were briefed yesterday that a war is coming, and it'll be announced in the address to the nation tonight at 9 o'clock by the president. Who knows, by the way, if that will actually happen? I don't know. And I never want to overstate what I know, which is pretty limited in general.
That's a disclaimer.
Now, what they were doing is this right here. Trump masterfully orchestrated the mother of all head fakes, using Tucker Carlson either knowingly or unknowingly to say a war in Venezuela was coming. That got people watching the program. And so he's saying that Trump cleverly tricked every major news network into airing a comprehensive recap of his impressive first-year accomplishments during prime time in front of a backdrop of Christmas decorations. Told Americans the truth. Illegal aliens were stealing their hard-earned tax dollars. He's the king of trolls. So this is what you
brilliant.
got. That's what you got.
It was on every channel.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, they all aired it. They all did. So there you go. Well, David, what are you doing? Are we zooming in on Tucker's hair?
I listened to about the first 10 minutes of it, and then I was like, I went and got in the shower because I was like, I figured it out that he's just, he's touting his own stuff. I was like, oh, cool. And then I briefly caught the part about the trans stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get, Linda, for watching on YouTube. The ad popped up. You missed the last few minutes, last few seconds. That's why we tell you, Linda. But you're hard-headed, Linda. Hard-headed, hard-hearted. Hey, I'm going to be in LaPorte, Texas. Are you coming down there Sunday? I don't know if you're coming down or not.
If I ride on your plane, I might.
If I'm riding, you riding on the plane?
Yeah.
You could ride on the plane, but I just don't know how you'd get back.
Yeah, I figured I'll get a ride back from LaPorte. Somebody drive me back to.
You go Uber back from LaPorte, Texas.
Yeah.
We're down there. Cooper Wade, Jordan Appleby. We're all doing music down there to raise money for first responders down in LaPorte, Texas. And so if you're down and you know where LaPorte, Texas is, down there on the coast, that's near where NASA is. All right, so we're going to be down there all Sunday afternoon. They're even doing a mutton busting that afternoon. For those of you who don't know what mutton busting is, that's where you take a kid, put a helmet on him, and put him on the back of a sheep and send him across the arena. It's fun to watch. Yeah. Linda. David said to tell Linda, I am the producer now.
David should learn not to feed the trolls.
Yeah, he lets me feed them for him. Linda's not a troll.
I know.
Lovely Linda.
Called one, though.
All right, so Trump laid out that effect on illegal immigration last night. And let's just play the clip, hear what he had to say.
I think most would agree. I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else, with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work.
So my thing there is who in their right mind fights back against that right there? I mean, we're so mean to illegals and, but of course they're going to call them immigrants. I got called out this morning for somebody saying, you just hate immigrants. No, actually, I don't.
The difference between an immigrant and somebody that illegally entered our country.
I mean, there's massive difference, right? Massive difference. But again, you can't deny what was happening, not to mention the loss of life, the Jocelyn Nungareys, the Lake and Rileys and all that. If you don't take this country back, look at that watch. Look how good it looks, Steve. It's a good looking watch. That thing, I had to slap it on there, man. Cut the tags off of it. Somebody's going to get this watch at some point in time. But I'm sitting there going, somebody talked about, they were like, oh, you say you believe in the Bible, but you don't. Yeah. Okay, listen. Stop all the pearl clutching, man. People they've weaponized compassion. They've weaponized empathy, all right, to use that word. Caring about immigrants doesn't mean that you just have open borders and you throw everything wide open and you just let people do whatever they want to do in your country, man. I mean, the Bible don't belong to your feelings, by the way, and Christ isn't your mascot, so that stuff's nonsense. But anyway, that's you know what? None of those people have anybody, whether illegal or legal. They got no immigrants living with them. None of them. So,
Nor do I. Nor do I.
So Trump says 1776 checks for the military. Again, you got to line up. I mean, to sit there and keep promising that you're going to be throwing these dividends out there and all of that. Where does it come from? I mean, you got to still do the math on that. What do you think, Steve?
Hey, they're getting it. I talked to two of my children are both military families, and they've already been told it will be here. And I'm thinking by tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Really by tomorrow.
Yeah. That's my understanding. But she said before Christmas they were told it would be there.
I love so many people that are responding to Trump's deal, and they're like, this is so disappointing. He could have made all this in a social media post. He's the president.
You wouldn't have watched it. You would have just saw him and typed your troll comment. But no, you got to sit there for 15, 20 minutes and listen to him talk about himself.
Let me tell you why it matters. Let me tell you why that deal matters, right? When's the last time? Listen, the fact that he could walk to the podium and speak clearly shows that he's superior to everything we got in the Joe Biden administration. Joe Biden didn't. He went months at a time and people didn't see him. And so Trump comes out there and says, hey, listen, we're doing pretty doggone good after a year of being in office. We're almost a year. We're 11 months in. We're doing pretty good. So, what's the problem? You didn't get that from Joe Biden. People bitched about it when Joe Biden didn't show up because he's down there licking the windows in the basement in Delaware, stumbling across Rehoboth Beach. I'm glad Trump comes out and gets in front of the people. He doesn't shy away from the microphone.
I like it better like that than when they do the, address the nation in front of all the congressmen and stuff that just take turns not clapping.
Yeah.
And just that right there just takes away from, let the people hear from the president, the elected president, without all the applaud and did you see them? They didn't sit down, or they booed, or they yelled. You don't need all that garbage. This does that.
Yeah. Because that becomes the story, ultimately.
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you about my friends over at American Financing. I'd love it if you could delay 2 of your mortgage payments. You can put those 2 payments in your pocket. American Financing can help you do that at americanfinancing.net/chat, or you call them on the phone, 888-631-4143. They're going to help you with those everyday expenses that are piling up on a credit card, whether it is your home expenses, groceries, gas bills. Everybody's dealing with that. They're putting everything on a credit card, 28%, 30% interest rate, and it's just people are just trying. There's no way to climb out of that. American Finance wants to show you how you can use your home's equity to refinance, and they have actually their financial experts, their loan experts are salary-based mortgage consultants. They're not working off a commission, and they're helping homeowners like you restructure your loan so you can consolidate debt, and you're going to save a lot of money, like $800 a month on average. That's basically a $10,000 a year raise, man. It's a no-brainer. So call them on the phone and let them start. It doesn't cost anything to start the process and just see what you can do. So if you're struggling under that and you want to see what you can get out of your home's equity, go check with them, 888-961-4143, or visit them at americanfinancing.net/Chad. Steve? Let me see that beard on Party Foul Steve. That thing's growing in. You're woolly.
Yeah, I'm thinking about cutting it because my wife said it was looking. What did she say?
Women's opinion don't matter.
She just says I need to go have it cleaned up, like, maybe evened out or something like that.
Look at him, Joe Pesci.
It looked better when I was wearing my toboggan the other day.
We've aged, bro. Like, I was looking at some pictures that popped up, like on my birthday. You shared some. We look like little babies.
I know.
Like you would look so much younger if you colored any of that. But the women would say, "No, don't color it."
No, I tried coloring it when it first started turning gray, and I did it for a couple of years. And I said, "Nah, I don't want to. I don't want the upkeep. I don't want to mess with it."
See, I've been shaving this right here. Been shaving it. Yeah. But the only people that's got goatees anymore, I guess that's what you call that.
Yeah.
Are old dudes like us.
Yeah. I don't like just the goatee and it long. Now short like yours is fine, but when they grow it out and it's just that one piece of hair down here,
hanging all the way. I don't know. I like hot seat Todd. I'm like, shave that thing, man.
Yeah.
He's like, I ain't gonna never shave ever again in my life. He calls me on the phone. I was like, shave your chin. I ain't never gonna shave anything ever again in my life.
I'm going to the grave with this.
I'm gonna wear this thing for the rest of my life. Pretty good hot seat Todd right there.
Yeah.
He texted me this morning wanting to know if I was going to AmFest. I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
He texted me this morning too.
No.
He wanted to know
because he's lonely out there. Nobody understands what he's saying.
He wanted to know if your other show, Before the Noise, was going to raid into Graham Allen this morning. And I said, yes, as far as I know, go ahead. Raid it in.
Yesterday I didn't let it raid. Because
you were preaching, dude. You had stuff.
I was on fire.
Putting some message out there and speaking to my heart every morning. I feel like you're direct everything at me, everything that you say.
Here's the cool thing about that, Steve, and this is the way it works. When you do Before the Noise, just preaching through or teaching through the scripture, it's amazing how every bit of it applies to our life. And that's why I haven't just been like, oh, I'm just going to go off and say what I want to say today. No, I just let the verses dictate what's being said, and that's why people are enjoying it, because it speaks directly to their life, and we've just been working through it. So nobody can look at me and say, oh, you picked these verses out to just target us. No, it's just that's the verses we fell on today.
Every single one. 3 months now? It's been going on 3 months, maybe a little bit more. Every single message, I feel like you're just targeting me the entire time. It's speaking to me, but the best part of it is I'm open to hear it.
Yeah.
And there's been times in my past where I'd just shut it down. I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Is a good
show. Apparently I'm not the only one that feels that you're preaching or speaking directly to them.
Man, I love doing it. It's the highlight of my day. I'll be honest with you. Doing that Before the Noise. I love doing it, and I encourage people to go join it Above the Noise too. Join AboveTheNoise.com. Hey, we told everybody in a hint. I hinted that Dan Bongino was about to resign from the FBI. Yeah, I said it a month ago because I knew a month ago.
I said it a year ago.
I said if anybody wants to go back and research me, I said, I don't know, maybe look for him to be back on podcasting maybe around March. And it's because I know. It's because I know. And what's the first rule of the Chad Prather Show? Chad's never wrong. So he said he's going to be leaving his position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, Ag Bondi, Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America. I think everybody's happy that he's coming back to be in that role. I mean, I would love to see what you guys have to say here.
It's not like he's going to come back to the podcast and spill national secrets. I'm sure he has to sign his life away not to speak about things.
Yeah, well, there'll definitely be a non-disclosure. I'll put it that way. But I also know that they've basically built a massive secure compound for him to do it in, the podcast, because there's going to be a target on his back now like never before. And
okay,
so I think it's good.
How far away is Cash Patel going to stay where he's at?
Yeah, I don't think Cash,
because he doesn't have a podcast.
Well, Cash was doing just fine before that, that's for sure. But I think Cash, he's, I think he's pretty stable where he's at right now. And then you have, and we'll see. There's a lot of things. Again, I love what Megyn Kelly said the other day, talking about active investigations. How, you know, the Department of Justice isn't obligated to our social media whims to come out and tell us everything that's going on. We don't know what investigations are going on, and they're not obligated to tell us. And actually, they shouldn't tell us because they're active investigations, which is one of the reasons why I said Candace is full of it. Because if I was going to say I got all the goods on somebody, I wouldn't keep giving them podcast warnings about all the goods I have on you, because then they could go out and change the narrative or hide or shred the evidence. And like that's if her going out and leaking information on a podcast is the way she's doing an investigation, that's not an investigation. So I don't know what Dan got accomplished. I don't know what Andrew Bailey there, his counterpart's doing. I don't know what Cash Patel truly is working on.
You shouldn't know in the end.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Is Chad on Sirius? No, I'm not. I'm not. And but I should be.
How do you get on Sirius? You got to pay a bunch of money.
No, you just got to have a radio show that they want to carry.
No, okay.
And this ain't a radio show. It's a podcast.
Remember we used to do this 10 years ago on an ironing board in a hotel room?
Yeah. I had little microphones like this that I'd plug up to a Tascam recorder, and we would set up the ironing board in the hotel room, and we'd set these on there, and we'd sit across from each other and just talk.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a long time, man.
I know. I had somebody reach out to me, and I was like, no, I've been doing this for a long time. I took a little break, but
yeah.
Been doing
somebody on social media on Facebook, they keep on talking about how I use my quote celebrity to give my opinion. I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to call celebrity, that's interesting. Trump had a response on that, and I've got an opinion on this, which I thought was interesting. This is what Trump said when he was asked about that. Play the clip.
Oh, Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show.
When I heard that, I almost, because Trump goes on and says he wants to go back to podcasting or he wants to go back to his show. I was like, is that kind of a dig right there of saying, oh, well, you were doing something important, but no, go talk to people?
I don't think so. I think,
I don't think it was either, but that was my first critical glance. I looked at it and I go, is that a dig at him?
I don't think
resigning?
Trump wants to dig at him too much because he could be a mouthpiece for Trump.
Yeah.
In the right circumstances. So,
yeah.
And maybe in a few years, Trump will have a podcast.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Maybe a 7-hour podcast. I think this is probably why Dan this is why Dan resigned right here, because the FBI is not a serious agency. This is Brown University, right? They're out there looking for clues. They still don't have anybody. They don't have a suspect. They don't have the shooter.
Where are they raking the evidence to?
I mean, what are you looking for here? Are you looking for shell casings? You looking for bullets? What are you looking for? Somebody drop a contact lens? I mean, is this really forensics here where we're going to go through with our boots and kick the snow out of the way trying to look for evidence? What in the heck?
That's how I would try to cover up evidence.
I mean, what is going on, man? I mean, they're just arm in arm scouring the...
You could literally put out an article that said, agents covering up evidence and show that footage, and it would work.
I mean, what are they looking for? Just lay out there and make snow angels and see what you find. I mean, they're definitely not looking for the shooter. He's not buried under that snowdrift right there.
Yeah. How about a metal detector picks up brass, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could come out there with some equipment, right?
Yeah.
They really should have been pinheads of the day before we get out of here. Bring them up here. Let's see what we got. Oh, boy, we're going to church.
Are we?
Not really. But, all right, play the clip. Listen closely.
Sometimes people come up to me and whisper, does it matter if we don't believe in the virgin birth?
No, it doesn't matter in the UCC for sure. There are some Christians to whom it really matters. But in the UCC, we feel like the most important thing about Jesus is paying attention to how he lived his life. And the details around his birth are things that we can find meaning in, but the meaning might be symbolic more than literal. The reality is that the word virgin in the first century when this was written had more to do with a woman who made decisions independent of a spouse. And so that's the way I like to think of it, is that Jesus was born to an independent woman.
Very nice. Sometimes people come up to me and whisper.
Okay, so stop it. I don't want to play that again when listen to that tank try to tell me that it's, again, they make it all about women, right? It was, this independent woman. Well, she was about 14 years old, probably, based on the culture of the day. And for them to say that the virgin birth doesn't matter, let me just tell you why it does, if you want to. Party Foul Steve, you want me to do that?
Yeah, do it.
I mean, I can. Because Jesus had to be both fully God and fully man, or else his whole purpose redemptively being on the earth was useless. Jesus wasn't a great moral teacher who later got elevated. He entered into history by divine initiative. He was conceived by the Holy Spirit and born of a woman, which means he shares our humanity completely, yet his origin is not in fallen humanity. So he stepped into our condition without inheriting Adam's guilt, and so that is the mechanism by which God entered his own creation without ceasing to be God. She had to be a virgin because it protected the identity of Jesus. Because if Jesus was born the normal way, like you and me, he's just another son of Adam, and he's fallen. He's not sinless, and if he doesn't have inherent sin, or he would have inherent sin if she wasn't a virgin. And if he appeared without real human birth, he's not truly one of us. The virgin birth holds both truths together. God with us, not God pretending to be with us. Emmanuel, which was the prophecy, is not a slogan. It was a biological and theological claim. And your salvation depends on it, because the cross only saves if the one who's on it is sinless. So the resurrection only redeems if death had no rightful claim on him, and the virgin birth is not a sentimental Christmas detail, it's the opening move in God's rescue plan. So if you don't have a virgin birth, you don't have a sinless Savior, and no sinless Savior means no substitution, and no substitution means no good news of the gospel. And it tells us how God works, because God doesn't wait for human ability, human readiness, or human permission. He acts, he initiates, he brings life where it's humanly impossible. So the virgin birth is a declaration that salvation is not achieved, it is received, and Christianity begins with grace and not effort. And it matters because it demands a response, because if the virgin birth is true, then Jesus is not optional. It's not a spiritual accessory. He's Lord. You can admire him, reject him, worship him, or run for him, but you can't reduce him, which is what these fat cows are doing. Because the manger actually confronts us with a choice. And you take away the virgin birth, Christianity falls into moralism. But if you keep it, you're faced with a God who stepped into flesh to save his enemies, and that's why it matters.
Amen.
How's that?
That's pretty good. I don't know.
I don't
that
think they're
I've heard
going to ask me to go
exactly
speak
like
at any
that.
Methodist churches anytime soon.
Probably not, because they're putting their feelings in there.
Yeah.
It's,
All right.
I feel
There you go.
like she was an independent one.
There you
Okay.
go. So anyway, that should be. We should probably clip that and turn it into a video or something. I don't know.
Probably so. Clip that out, David.
If I could figure out a way to say all that again.
Beautiful.
Booyah! All right. Party Foul Steve, give him a final word, man. Tell him you're going to see him in LaPorte. I'll fly you down there.
I'll see you in LaPorte. I'm going to fly down there. An hour and a half. I might drive down there.
It's a 20-minute flight from Conroe.
I know. It's like boom, boom. I could be there, and then I'd be stranded in Conroe.
Yeah.
I mean, in LaPorte. I don't want to be stranded in LaPorte, Texas.
Well, maybe, but they're going to spend the night because I got to leave in the middle of the night. So
Yeah, I'll probably just drive down there.
yeah,
I catch a
Yeah.
plane anytime.
I'm flying out of LaPorte at like 10 p.m.
You know how I
11
really
p.m.
feel about private jets.
You don't
so,
like? It's not a private jet.
little
Not
jet.
private. There'll be a
know,
pilot
but-
on there.
I know, but you know how I feel about little jets. I don't want
Oh boy. You don't want to be and others. You don't
Yeah.
want to be. You don't want to be the big bopper. I know.
yeah. Big
I'll tell you
Bopper
this,
and
man.
others.
I'll tell you this. When God's through with me, there ain't a thing I can do to prolong my life by 1 second. And until he's done with me, there ain't nothing that can kill me. So that's the way we're gonna go.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
where we're
yeah.
gonna go.
I know,
it
but
is-
I
it
just
is-
don't want to leave this earth and be and others. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the only reason. I know I'm going to leave the earth, but
Chad Prather and others. No, it would just be Party Foul Steve. You'd be in the headlines. Party Foul Steve.
and others.
We might make the Montgomery County, Texas newspaper. That'd be about the.
That's one paper I don't want to make ever, because every time I see somebody that's made it, be like I've seen some lately. I was like, ooh.
You're that Say Cheese, Montgomery County. Linda
Yeah.
Adams, if I ever see you on Say Cheese, Montgomery County. It'd probably be for assault or something like that. But, all right. We got to get out of here. Y'all follow Party Foul Steve. Y'all let him say goodbye and all that kind of stuff. For David Medina, at David Medina PDX, follow him for some great content as well. Love that boo and love that boy. Pray for us, man. And we're praying for you, that's for sure. I'm so thankful. We normally would get into Chad's final word, but I don't really have one. I think that virgin birth part just kind of summed it all up. And, Linda Adams would be on Say Cheese, Montgomery County. They post the mug shots up there north of Houston. And Linda'd be the kissing bandit. That's what she'd be. Yeah. Miller Lite and kissing bandits, baby. All right. Hey, be good to each other, man. And go check out our watches at originalgrain.com. Use American Financing, Birch Gold. Text Chad to 989898. Boy, these things are moving fast, aren't they? Who else do we have? Patriot-protect.com/Chad. All the stuff. And get my book. Look at that big old thing. It took 4 months for this to come in from Vistaprint. Born for Meaning. Born for Meaning. Go get it. Make some Christmas gifts that are fantastic. Order a bunch of them. Give them away. And sign them. Sign my name in there and say they're autographed copies. I don't care. Banana fight time. That only happens in the men's prison, Linda. All right, and watchchad.com. Come see us down in LaPorte. I don't think that benefit show is on my website, but I will be down there in LaPorte, Texas. And then we got a bunch of stuff coming up as we head into 2026. Can't wait to get there. Lord willing, we will. And Merry Christmas, everybody. And what else should we tell you? Oh, go over right now if you haven't joined yet, abovethenoise.com. I'm posting a new class in there today. We're finishing out the course on Who Is This Jesus? And let me tell you something. That virgin birth does matter. Boy, howdy. What's the book? Born for Meaning. You can get it at Amazon. Born for Meaning. If you've been through tragedy, you've been through trauma, you've been through heartbreak, you've been through loss, if you've been through grief, this is the book for you. If you got some pain in your life, get this book, Born for Meaning. And all I can tell you is, based on the responses I'm getting, there's a lot of people out there that this book has helped. I had no idea of the success of the words of this book that it was going to have, but it's yielding a lot of fruit. So I'm encouraging you to go grab this. Born for Meaning. Get it over on Amazon. And if you go to beforethenoise.com, right at the top, there's a little label with a link. Click it. It'll take you to the Amazon link straight to it over at beforethenoise.com. All right, for David, for Party Foul Steve, special thanks to Philip from Birch Gold. All that insight. Now it's time to go, count our gold and silver and invest in it. Text Chad to 989898. Thank you so much for being here today. Stay tuned for more videos. Join me tomorrow morning for Before the Noise at 8, 7 Central, and I will see you there. I love you. God bless you, and I will talk to you then. Bye.